The desert was broken. The ground was cracked. Rocks were shattered. Smoke and dust covered the battlefield. In the middle of it all, Captain Rice and Jalgur still stood. Both were wounded. Both were breathing hard. But neither gave up. Rice wiped blood from his lip. His right arm shook, a muscle torn from blocking a blow. Jalgur's armor was cracked, one eye swollen, but he grinned like a beast. I expected more from the human hero, Jalgur growled. Riss didn't speak. He stepped forward again. Flashback. Rice's past. Years ago. He had been just a soldier once. One among many. Fighting small wars. Losing friends. Seeing pain. Then one day aliens came. Earth wasn't ready. Cities fell. Millions died. Riss watched a crack soldier burn a shelter filled with families. He couldn't stop it. But that day, he made a promise. Never again. He trained harder than anyone, took part in secret human programs, survived tests no one else could. Until one day, he became more than human. He became Earth's first living weapon. Back to present. The battle heats up. Jalgur charged again. Rice rolled under his swing, grabbed a metal pipe from the broken ground, and slammed it across Jalgur's face. The pipe bent. Jalgur didn't fall. Instead, he grabbed Rice by the neck and lifted him. "Now you die," Jalgur growled. He slammed Rice into the dirt, again and again. Blood sprayed from Rice's mouth. His vision blurred, but he smiled. "You think this is my limit?" Rice whispered. Suddenly, a surge of energy burned through his body. His skin glowed. His muscles tightened. He grabbed Jalgur's wrist and broke it. Jalgur howled in pain. Orbiting Earth, crack soldiers watching. Inside the warship, thousands of cracks watched the live feed. When Jalgur screamed, fear spread among them. If Jalgur can be hurt, then humans are more dangerous than we thought. This Earth must be destroyed before it's too late. Emperor Cernax turned to his officers. "Prepare the main cannon. If Jalgur fails, we erase the entire planet." Earth command. Human leaders watch in silence. General Harper stared at the screen. Rice was still fighting, but his energy was fading. "Get him out of there," an officer said. "Send a ship." "No," Harper said quietly. He knew this was a one-on-one battle. "If we interfere, we start a full galactic war." Harper looked down. He knew the risk. Final clash. Rice versus Jalgur. Jalgur's broken arm hung loose. He roared and charged with his other claw. Rice dodged, barely. He jumped, spun in the air, and kicked Jalgur in the chest. The alien flew back into a cliff wall. Dust exploded everywhere. Rice dropped to one knee. His body was broken, his breathing sharp, but he stood again. Jalgur crawled from the rubble. He was smiling, but blood poured from his mouth. "You're stronger than I thought," Jalgur said. Riss walked forward. He didn't look like a man anymore. He looked like a symbol. Jalgur raised his claw for one last strike. Riss didn't block it. He stepped through it and drove his fist into Jalgur's chest, straight through. Jalgur gasped. He stared into Rice's eyes, then fell. Silence. No sound. Just wind. Riss stood over the body of the Empire's champion. He was shaking, bleeding, but alive. Earth command, cheers and tears. All across Earth, people watched. Crowds cheered. Families cried. Soldiers stood in salute. Rice had done it. He had stopped the monster. But Harper didn't smile. She looked at the sky. "They won't accept this," she whispered. "The cracks will come in full force now." Cracks fleet. Alarms sound. The Emperor screamed in rage. "Launch all ships. Prepare the doomsday cannon." His officers hesitated. But what if more humans are like him? The Emperor stared at the Earth. "Then we burn the entire world." In the desert, Ray's collapses. He fell to his knees, then to the ground. His body finally gave out. Dust swirled around him. His eyes closed. Darkness took him. Outside the alien command ship, space looked quiet. But that silence was a lie. General Cavor stood frozen, watching the large screen. Earth's ghost fleet had arrived without warning. Black ships, sharp and deadly, moved slowly through space like shadows. Inside the war room, no one spoke. Fear filled the air. Cavor turned toward the human, still standing in the center. "How did your ships get so close without being seen?" The man smiled again. "We were always here. You just didn't know where to look." Cavor growled. "Our scanners." "Your scanners are outdated," the human interrupted calmly. "They can't see what doesn't want to be seen." An officer shouted, "Sir, Earth's fleet is in position, surrounding us." Cavor looked at the red dots blinking on the screen. Ships were above, below, behind. No escape. His fleet, hundreds of alien warships, was now locked inside a deadly circle. Still, Earth's ships didn't fire. Cavor slammed his fist on the table. "Why aren't they attacking?" The human replied, "They're waiting." "For what?" Cavor hissed. "For me," the man said simply. Everyone stared at him. The guards slowly stepped back. They didn't want to be near him anymore. Cavor clenched his teeth. "What's your name?" The human turned his eyes toward him. "Daniel Creed, Special Operative, Earth Silent Division." A wave of panic spread across the room. Everyone had heard the name before. Daniel Creed, the Ghost Commander. Many believed he was just a myth. "No one's ever seen you," an alien officer whispered. "You just did," Creed replied. Suddenly, the ship shook, a light tremor. "Report," Cavor barked. "Not an attack," the officer said. "It's a signal burst from one of the human ships." Creed tapped a small device on his wrist. A light blinked. That was just a warning. Cavor's claws dug into the table. "You dare threaten me on my own ship?" Creed walked closer. "This is no longer your ship. It's a message board. A message to the galaxy. Earth will not bow. Earth will not beg." On the screen, one of the Earth ships moved slightly. Not fast, not aggressive, but full of power. It hovered near the largest alien battleship. Cavor tried to sound brave. "We have more ships than you. We can crush your fleet." Creed shook his head. "No. You had more ships. We destroyed your outer patrols an hour ago." "What?" Cavor shouted. Creed's wrist device showed a video. Alien patrol ships burning in silence. No sound, just fire, metal, and space. Cavor stepped back. "Impossible." Another officer checked incoming messages. "Sir, he's telling the truth. We've lost contact with patrol zones 7 through 12. "Then this is war," Cavor shouted. Creed nodded. "It always was. But Earth didn't start it. You did, when you came to our home." Cavor screamed, "We are the strongest force in this galaxy." Creed looked him straight in the eyes. "Not anymore." The screen suddenly flashed red. A warning appeared. "Unknown signal incoming. Earth-class dreadnought detected." The alien officers stared in disbelief. "No," whispered one. "We thought Earth had no dreadnoughts." "They don't just have one," Creed said. "They have 5. Outside, space seemed to bend. A giant ship appeared, 10 times the size of any other. It looked like a floating fortress, black and full of silent power. The ship's name glowed in white letters on its hull. ESS Revenant. "Revenant," an officer whispered. "That means returned from the dead." Cavor's mouth went dry. He had seen many ships, but never one like this. Creed spoke again. "You wanted to scare Earth. You wanted to take our planet. But now you understand. You've stepped into the wrong storm." The war room lights dimmed again. The Revenant powered up. Cavor asked, voice shaking, "Are you here to destroy us?" Creed paused, then said, "We're here to give you a choice." The screen showed a simple message: surrender or be erased. Kavor stared at the message, sweat on his forehead. His army was still large, but not ready for this kind of war. And Earth's backup had already shattered their pride. They had waited for years to take control of the Varnuk Empire. Now, with General Kavor weak and silent, they saw their chance. The leader of the group, a tall alien named Commander Vek, slammed his fist on the table. "This is our time," he growled. "Earth has scared our leaders. They'd forgotten who we are." One officer replied nervously, "But Earth destroyed our entire fleet without firing a shot." Vek hissed, "No, Earth tricked us. They used fear, silence, lies. If we strike now while they rest, we can win." Another officer asked, "But how? Their ghost fleet is still out there." Vek smiled. "We won't attack Earth. We will take the galaxy back piece by piece, one planet at a time. Earth can't be everywhere." The Iron Flame had a new plan. Start rebellions, burn alliances, turn planets against Earth's influence. And it began that very night. In the shadows of several alien worlds, bombs exploded. Buildings burned. Leaders loyal to Earth's peace plans were assassinated. The galaxy, which had just started to calm down, now boiled with new chaos. People were confused, afraid. They didn't know if Earth would protect them again, or if the Silent Division would even return. On Earth, the Council received the reports. One officer spoke urgently. "We're seeing rebellion movements across 5 sectors. They call themselves the Iron Flame." Another added, "They're spreading lies, saying Earth is weak, that we're scared to fight again." The room grew tense. Then the door opened. Commander Daniel Creed walked in, calm as ever. Everyone stood. He walked straight to the center table and looked at the reports. "They think we're sleeping," Creed said. A general asked, "Should we strike now?" Creed shook his head. "No, not yet." "Why not?" Another officer asked. "They're spreading chaos." Creed looked out the window, his voice cold but steady. "Let them scream. Let them burn their own empires. The louder they get, the easier it is for us to see them." The Silent Division didn't move immediately. They watched. They listened. They waited. Because they had learned something important from Earth's history. The enemy always shows their true face when they think you're not watching. Back in the Varnuk Empire, Commander Vek stood on a giant platform, giving a fiery speech to thousands of rebels. "Earth has made you weak," he shouted. "But we are the fire that will rise again. We are not afraid." The crowd cheered. But high above them, hidden in the clouds, a small black drone hovered silently. Its lens zoomed in on Vek's face. Data streamed back to Earth in real time. And far below the ground, in a silent room deep beneath the rebellion's camp, a small device blinked. It had no buttons, no sound, just a red light, waiting for one signal. Back on Earth, Creed watched the live feed. He turned to his team. They showed themselves. One officer asked, "Do we press the button?" Creed stared at the screen for a moment, then said just 2 words, "Not yet." The galaxy was on the brink of war again. The Iron Flame, led by Commander Vek, had stirred chaos. Rebellion spread like wildfire across the stars. Planets once at peace with Earth now teetered on the edge of conflict. But Earth was not rushing into battle. Earth had a plan, a silent, unstoppable plan. Inside Earth's control room, Commander Daniel Creed stood, watching the latest reports. The rebellion had grown larger, but Earth's ghost fleet had not yet made a move. A young officer asked nervously, "Commander, are we waiting too long? The Iron Flame is pushing harder every day." Creed looked out the window at the stars. His voice was calm, almost cold. "Let them think they have the upper hand," he said. "Let them make their noise. We're listening, and when the time comes, They won't even know what hit them. On the rebellion's homeworld, Commander Vec was feeling the pressure. His forces had gained momentum. And yet, something gnawed at him. He knew something wasn't right. They had attacked Earth's allies. They had spread lies. They had killed leaders who spoke for peace. But Earth had not retaliated. No fleets. No warships. Just silence. The war was over before it began. The alien fleet had surrendered. Earth's ghost fleet stood silent, weapons still powered, but unused. Inside the alien command ship, General Cavor sat in silence, staring at the dark screen in front of him. Around him, his officers whispered in fear and disbelief. No one knew what to say, but all eyes kept returning to one man, Daniel Creed. He didn't look like a war hero. No medals, no heavy armor, just a black suit and cold, quiet eyes. Cavor finally asked, "Who are you really?" Creed didn't answer at first. He turned and looked out the window, where the Earth dreadnoughts floated like giants in the void. Then he said, "I'm part of the Silent Division." Cavor frowned. "That's just a myth." Creed looked back. "No, it's your galaxy's mistake. You laughed at the idea that Earth had a shadow force. You believed we were only soldiers, only diplomats, only traders. But the Silent Division, we were built for one purpose." Cavor asked quietly, "What purpose?" Creed stepped closer, his voice low and serious. "To end wars before they begin." The room froze. No one moved. No one breathed. He continued, "While your empire was busy showing off power, building armies, and bullying smaller races, we were building something else. A force made of silence, of secrets, of unstoppable precision." Cavor stared at him. "How long? How long have you been watching us?" Creed answered without blinking. "Since your first attack on our outposts. We let you think Earth was weak. We studied your ships, your tactics, your leaders. Every word you said, every move you made. We saw it all." One alien officer asked in shock, "But how?" "We never saw your ships. We never found spies." Creed's eyes narrowed. "Because when we do our job right, you don't see us." Cavor's hands were shaking. "You could have destroyed us long ago." "We could have." Creed nodded. "But Earth believes in mercy first. War is always the last door we open." Another officer asked, "And if someone forces you through that door?" Creed's face turned cold. "Then we don't leave anything standing." Suddenly, a hologram appeared above the center table. It showed hundreds of images, alien commanders, battle plans, secret meetings, all collected by Earth's Silent Division. "We know your weaknesses," Creed said. "We know your hidden bases, your secret labs, even your betrayals to other allies." Cavor felt his blood run cold. "You've been inside our empire this whole time." "Yes," Creed said. "But why reveal yourselves now?" the general asked. Creed replied, "Because today was the line. You crossed it. You kidnapped Earth's people. You destroyed peaceful colonies. You left us no choice." One of the younger alien officers looked afraid. "So, is this the beginning of Earth's rule over the galaxy?" Creed shook his head. "Earth doesn't want to rule. We want peace, but peace with strength. You attacked us thinking we had none. Now you understand." Cavor looked away in shame. His pride was shattered. His army defeated without a single Earth ship firing a shot. Then Creed added, "But remember this, the Silent Division isn't just watching you. It's watching everyone." Cavor looked up slowly. "If another empire rises and tries to take what isn't theirs," Creed said, "we'll be there, before they even know it." Suddenly, Creed's wrist device buzzed. A voice came through. "Commander Creed, mission complete. Awaiting extraction." Creed looked at Cavor one last time. "Your people are lucky. You surrendered. Others won't be so smart." With that, he stepped back. A beam of light surrounded him. And in seconds, he was gone. Beamed out. Vanished. Only the silence remained. One alien officer whispered, "They were never weak. They were just quiet." Kavor nodded slowly. "And we were fools." The Crack's empire was silent, but not still. While soldiers whispered in fear and commanders argued, the Emperor of the Cracks made one decision. "If the humans wish to fight monsters," he said, "then we will give them our worst." His voice echoed through the dark halls of the Dreadfire, the largest ship in the fleet. "Wake up, Jalgar. Crack's science prison. Deep space. No soldier spoke here. No lights were bright. The air was thick and cold. In the deepest chamber, behind 20 layers of force shields, a tall creature slept inside a frozen glass cell. His body was covered in scars. His claws were like swords. His eyes were shut, but even in sleep, he looked ready to kill. Jalgar. He was not like other Cracks. He had been built for war. Born in pain, trained to destroy. He had no fear, no doubt, only one goal: to kill the enemy. Long ago, he had broken free and killed his own generals. That's why they locked him away. But now, they needed him. The room filled with steam as the ice melted. Jalgar opened his eyes. On Earth, Riz trains alone. Captain Race stood shirtless in the rain, his body steaming as heat rose from his skin. His muscles moved like machines, but his mind wasn't calm. He felt it. Something was coming. Not ships, not soldiers. Something stronger. General Harper watched from inside the bunker. "What's wrong with him?" an officer asked. She didn't answer. She just stared. "He knows," she whispered. "He always knows." Crack's command, preparing for the drop. Jalgar stood inside a drop pod. His armor was thick and black. His weapons were built into his arms. Crack's engineers looked at him like he was a god. "Your mission," the commander said, "is to kill the human they call Rice." Jalgar did not reply. He just growled, then slammed his fist into the wall. The metal dented. The drop pod launched. Above Earth, nightfall. The skies turned red as the Crack's drop pod tore through the clouds like a comet. People looked up in fear. Cities sounded alarms. Earth's defense systems locked on, but the pod was too fast. It crashed into the middle of an empty desert. The ground shook. Sand exploded into the air. Jalgar stepped out, fire behind him. He looked around, smelled the air. "Human," he said slowly, "I'm here." Earth's military command. Warnings flashed on every screen. Unknown object entered Earth's atmosphere. Landing zone, Nevada desert. Single life form detected. High energy. High threat. General Harper stared at the map. "It's not an army," she said. "It's a challenger." Rice entered the room. "I'll go," he said. Harper turned to him. "Alone?" Rice gave a small smile. "He came alone, didn't he?" The desert. First contact. The two warriors stood across from each other. Jalgar, 8 feet tall, pure muscle, glowing armor, red eyes full of hate. Rice, human, calm, focused, skin slightly glowing with energy, his face unreadable. Neither one spoke. Then Jalgar charged. The ground cracked under his feet. He moved like a tank. He swung his giant claw, aiming for Rice's head. But Rice ducked, stepped aside, and landed a punch into Jalgar's ribs. The sound was like thunder. Jalgar flew back and slammed into a boulder. Dust filled the air. But then, Jalgar stood up and smiled. "You're strong, human," he growled. "But I was made to kill strong things." Back at command, watching the battle, Earth's satellites picked up the fight. Soldiers, leaders, and scientists watched from screens all over the world. They had never seen two beings move this fast, punch this hard, shake the ground with every step. People whispered, "Is Riz going to win?" No one answered. The fight continues. Into the night, Jalgar and Rice clashed again and again. Fists against claws, steel against bone. Sparks flew. Each hit broke the ground. Craters formed. Blood spilled, but neither gave up. Jalgur roared. Riz gritted his teeth. It was not just a battle of power. It was a battle of will. And Riz was not just fighting for himself. He was fighting for all of Earth. What are they waiting for? Vec growled. One of his officers, an older alien, stepped forward. Perhaps they've given up, Commander. Perhaps they have no power left. Vec slammed his fist on the table. No, Earth's silence is not weakness. It is their strategy. And we are playing right into it. He turned to his officers. Prepare for the final strike. We will make them face us. Back on Earth, the tension grew. Creed stood in the command center, his face unreadable. He glanced at the holographic map of the galaxy, watching as the iron flame continued its spread. It was almost time. A voice behind him broke the silence. Sir, all systems are ready. We can launch the response. Creed nodded slowly. It's time. He turned to the screen, his voice strong and unwavering. Tell them who we really are. Far across the galaxy, the iron flame had gathered its strength. Thousands of ships, hundreds of rebel worlds, and a burning desire for vengeance were ready. Vec stood on the deck of his flagship, staring out into the vastness of space. The enemy was out there. Earth's fleets were hiding. He smirked. This ends today. But just as he prepared to give the command, something strange happened. The lights on his flagship flickered. Then a loud alarm sounded. We're being scanned, an officer shouted. Vec frowned. What? The alarm stopped, but the tension in the room was thick. Then, in the distance, a single flash of light appeared in the sky. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a comet. It was a beam. A beam that stretched across the galaxy. It came from Earth's ghost fleet. The ship's weapon systems activated. And in an instant, everything changed. From the deep shadows of space, thousands of Earth's warships emerged. They were silent, invisible, and armed with the most powerful weapons ever created. These ships weren't just in the area. They had been there all along. The silent division was real, and Earth's full power was now revealed. Creed's voice echoed across the galaxy, through every communication system, every ship, every rebel world. This is Earth. We were never gone. You just never saw us. The moment those words hit, Earth's hidden fleets moved. And they moved fast. In the blink of an eye, Earth's ships locked onto the Iron Flame's fleets. There were no warnings, no time for escape. The first strike hit hard. Earth's warships released a wave of energy that tore through the rebellion's fleet. Ships exploded into dust before their commanders could even react. Vec's flagship took the brunt of the attack. The screen in front of him flashed red. Impossible, he screamed. How could they? But his voice was drowned out by the sound of his own ship breaking apart. As the ships around him fell, the rebellion's forces scattered, panicking. The galaxy watched in disbelief as Earth's backup forces moved with deadly precision. The Iron Flame, once so sure of victory, was being crushed in moments. And at the heart of it all stood Creed, watching the final strike unfold. Back on Earth, the Council watched the broadcast in silence. They had never planned for a war, but they had prepared for one, just in case. The rebellion's forces were decimated, and the message was clear. No one would challenge Earth again. Creed turned to his team. The job is done, but the galaxy is watching. He looked out into space. Let's make sure they never forget who we are. The galaxy fell silent once again. But this time, it wasn't because of fear. It was because Earth had proven that no one could challenge them, not even the greatest empires of the stars. And as the warships faded back into the shadows, Earth's true power was understood by all. The end. The galaxy was quiet. Not the usual silence of space, but the silence of fear. News of what happened spread fast. In less than a day, Every empire, every trading group, every pirate fleet knew the same story. Earth's backup had arrived, and it was unstoppable. On hundreds of planets, alien leaders held secret meetings. Questions filled the air. Is it true? Is Earth really that powerful? Who else is part of the silent division? Fear turned to panic. Many began to change their tone. Allies who once ignored Earth now sent messages of peace. Enemies who once mocked humans now begged for talks. In the middle of all this chaos, Earth finally spoke. Across the galaxy, screens blinked. Radios crackled. Holograms flickered on. It wasn't a long message, just a simple broadcast. But it shook the stars. A calm, firm voice echoed through every speaker. This is Earth. We are not conquerors. We do not seek war. But we will defend our people. We will protect our peace. And if you ever think of testing us again, remember this day. The message ended. Then came a signal, one only powerful nations could read. It was a special data stream from the Silent Division. It contained everything. Proof of alien war crimes, maps of hidden weapons labs, coordinates of secret attacks planned against Earth. The galaxy was shocked. In one move, Earth had exposed the dirty secrets of its enemies. Old alliances broke. Leaders were overthrown, and many feared they were next. Back on Earth, in a quiet underground base, Commander Daniel Creed stood in front of a large screen. He watched the galaxy react. Nations falling silent, leaders resigning, fleets pulling back. He didn't smile. This wasn't a victory to celebrate. A young officer beside him asked, "Sir, did we go too far?" Creed shook his head slowly. "No, we went just far enough to make them understand." The officer looked unsure. "Will they fear us now?" Creed replied, "Fear isn't the goal. Respect is." Elsewhere, on the alien homeworld, General Cavor sat before a galactic news broadcast. The screen showed images of his own empire. Ashamed, exposed, weakened, he turned to his assistant. "We spent years laughing at Earth. We called them simple, soft." The assistant whispered, "And now we know. They were only silent, not soft." Cavor sighed deeply. The most dangerous enemy is not the loud one. It's the one who listens, watches, and strikes only once. He stood and looked out the window, where the stars twinkled calmly. "They didn't just win a battle," he said. "They changed the rules." Far above in space, Earth's ghost fleet slowly began to vanish again. Ships cloaked, signals silenced, trails erased. They disappeared into the black once more. But the galaxy knew now. They were still out there, watching, waiting, and no one knew where they'd appear next. In the days that followed, peace treaties were signed faster than ever before. Empires that once fought each other now sat at the same table because they feared what might happen if Earth returned in force. Earth's leaders spoke again, one last time. This time, it wasn't just a warning. It was a choice. "You now understand who we are. We will help those who want peace. We will stop those who seek chaos. Choose your path wisely, because next time, there may be no warning." The message ended. Silence followed. But this time, it wasn't a silence of fear. It was a silence of respect. The galaxy had changed. After Earth's message, most leaders stayed silent. Some offered peace, some hid in fear, but not everyone agreed with the silence. On the outer edge of the Varnuk Empire, in a dusty underground chamber, voices rose in anger. They surrendered too fast. They bowed to Earth like cowards. A group of alien commanders gathered around a table. Most wore dark cloaks, faces hidden in shadows. They were part of an old faction, the Iron Flame.